Hi. All right, short email. This person writes, I wonder if you had any advice on. Every time I'm about to eat, I want to be as comfortable as possible. I need to pee, to have the right temperature, to be alone, to watch something great on the TV, to not get interrupted. And I know it's weird, but I also need to count my earrings and yawn between each bite. I don't feel like I restrict, and I know I can eat again later and so on. I'm kind of confused as to why I feel the need to do these things. I used to do those things as well. Some of us have a really strong OCD component that comes along with an eating disorder. Some of us don't have a very strong OCD component. And Dr. Buick's work has shown that the genetic locus for eating disorders, such as anorexia, lies really close to that of OCD. So there's definitely something going on there. What I think happens is that when your brain thinks that you're in a hostile environment, which, if food was scarce, things would be fucked up out there, everyone would be fighting, or like competitive and aggressive. So your brain's like, it's not a good environment. Food is scarce. That's like one of the biggest horrible environments I can think of. So when our brains are in that sort of stressed, hostile environment, they become more prone to forming repetitive, compulsive, habitual behaviors. Because habitual behavior, the design of our brain, the way that the basal ganglia works to form habitual behavior, that's designed like that for a reason. It's because generally habitual behaviors keep us safe, especially when we're in a hostile environment. Because if you do something one day and you survive, your brain's like, I just want to do the same thing I did yesterday, because obviously that worked, because I'm still here. So it wants to, it's like, I'm going to do what worked. I'm going to make you feel compelled to do what worked. When you have an eating disorder, it gets all fucked up though. So like, for example, me, before I ate, everything had to be perfect. I had to set the scene. First of all, the room had to be completely cleared, and the kitchen had to be spotless, and all the food had to be laid out, and it had to be on the table in my certain spot. And I used to have the TV, just like you said. I used to have the TV on something interesting. And I also had to have my favourite Sudoku puzzle or crossword puzzle there as well. And everything, I had to be perfect. I had to go for a pee, any correspondence, like emails had to be answered. And of course, I had to make sure I wasn't interrupted. And so this is one of the things. I had all these timing rules. But say, for example, I was going to eat, but I knew that someone might come in the house. I would wait. I would be like, I'm going to make sure that they've come and gone. And that would stress me out that I had to wait because I get hangry, because I was always hangry. But I'd still, if I thought that somebody might interrupt me eating, I would wait until I was clear. So all of this weird stuff that now it wouldn't even occur to me to do. If I'm hungry, I eat, I just grab something. It wouldn't even come into my head that I had to clean up first or make everything perfect. But I absolutely did when I had an eating disorder, as well as I did loads of weird things when I had an eating disorder. So I think that some of the things, personally, I put some of my ritual things in place originally as like a barrier to eating. So it was the way to push eating back, to make my preparation time longer so that I would eat later, because I was always scared that if I ate early then I'd want to eat more, that kind of thing. So I think a lot of it was to do with restriction, pushing eating times back. Not all of it though, some of it was just weird. And ultimately, you can spend a lot of time trying to work out, well, why do I do this weird thing? And sometimes you can work out the behavior, you can work out why you did it. And sometimes it's just like, oh, whatever, I just need to stop doing it. And I need to rewire my brain and teach my brain that I don't have to do that anymore. Take the counting your earrings thing between each bite. I could look at that and say, that is actually something it's like you're putting a condition in place. I can't eat another bite until I've done X. It's just one thing that you're doing to maybe slow down your eating and therefore lead to, not consuming as much. I could guess that might be why that started up. It doesn't matter. It could be something completely different. It doesn't matter. You still have to stop doing it because it's weird. It's fucked up. So the hardest part is usually, first of all, recognizing the weird behavior. And then second of all, committing to not doing it. That's the hardest part. So once I committed to, I'm not going to completely clean the kitchen like a weirdo before I sit down and eat. Actually not clearing the kitchen and sitting down and eating was really easy. And I was like, oh, well, could have done that 10 years ago. Making the decision to change is usually the most difficult part. Actually doing the change is usually relatively easy. And then you're just like, well, that was anticlimactic, wasn't it? And then you realise that you just wasted a load of time doing this thing for ages that you didn't really need to do at all. But that's having a brain for you, and that's rewiring for you. Don't judge yourself for the weird shit. If you have restrictive eating disorder, we all do weird shit. I've done the most weird shit. So don't judge yourself for that. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You just need to recognise it and not do it anymore. And commit to not doing it anymore. And it's glorious because all of that stuff, at least for me, it was just boring. I hated having to do it all. I'm actually relatively lazy like that. I hate having to do anything. And so when I didn't have to do any more, it's just wonderful. And I do love my life, not having to do all the stupid shit that I used to have to do, not having to jump through all the hoops that I used to have to jump to just to do the basic thing of eating food, which nobody should have to jump through hoops of doing that. Eating food is just part of having a human body, and it's wonderful. And so remove it all, just take away all the crap that surrounds it and focus on eating food. I hope that helps.